let's start with the big story of the day, where less than 2 years after her husband was killed in an operation against terrorists in Kashmir, Swati Santosh Mahadik is being commissioned into the army as a lieutenant today. Now, Revati Rajivan reports on her transformation from teacher to a warrior.
For 38-year-old Swati, it was an emotional decision that came from seeing the army uniform hanging on the wall of her home that wouldn't be worn anymore. The uniform that belonged to her husband, Colonel Santosh Mahadik, who died fighting terrorists in Kashmir. And Swati is taking his dream forward, transforming from Mrs. Swati Mahadik to Lieutenant Swati Santosh Mahadik.
It was absolutely emotional decision, like sudden fall of combat, and there is no uniform in my house, and like the person whom I love the most, he was no more, and I always used to tell him, like, I'm your second love. Your first love is Indian Army. Your first love is your uniform, and your first love is, and when I lost him, I don't have any support. Kind of a thing. So I thought that let me try and love his first love.
Swati is not alone. Nidhi lost her husband, Naik Mukesh Kumar Dubey, in 2009 when she was pregnant with her now 7-year-old son. She too chose to wear the uniform her husband died for.
Only for my son, because his father was in army and he didn't see her father. That time I was pregnant when I lost my husband. So, for him only.
And your son also be?
Yeah, my son also want to join Indian Army.
Both former teachers, the women fought their individual battles as they trained with girls half their age. They will be among the 322 cadets taking part in the passing out parade on Saturday after a year's rigorous training at the Officers Training Academy in Chennai.
This training is to mold a young man or a woman who's coming from the civil street into a trained soldier. That is the purpose of the training, and towards this end the training encompasses all aspects of physical training, weapon training, tactical training, because you have to if you have to be a good military leader, you have to think in a military manner.
These spectacular visuals are only a glimpse of the kind of rigorous training that these cadets receive. It may seem like it's not just all work and no play, but on the other side of this passing out parade, these cadets are awaited by bigger adventures that they will do or die. With video journalist Revati Rajivan in Chennai for WION.
Right, what an inspirational story there. And to discuss more on this, we are joined in by my colleague Revati Rajivan, who's tracking us the details from Chennai. Now, Revati, what information do we have? This is like, one of the most inspirational stories that we come across, where this woman, where a lot of people have said, would have been a subject of pity, here has turned the tables around and is now going to be joining the Indian Army.
Well, absolutely. I have not heard a more inspirational story than this in the recent times. Throughout the time I was talking to Swati Mahadik, her eyes were beaming with pride. And today, during this passing out parade that you're seeing right behind me, she is going to be commissioned as a lieutenant in the Indian Army. Just 2 years, less than 2 years after her husband passed away in a terrorist during a terrorist fight in Kashmir. Now, she was very clear, very clear about what goals she has set for herself in the army, talking about how women, coming in the army is not a very mainstream idea, considering how male-dominated the entire defense sector is. And she did make one thing very clear, that it is all in the minds, whether it is a male cadet or a female cadet. The gun or the bullets do not discriminate between a man and a woman. When somebody is, putting a gun in front of you, the bullets really do not know if you're a man or a woman. So it does not matter what gender you are. It is all in your mind. That is what Swati Mahadik did tell WION in the earlier interview, and she is passing out today from here in the Officers Training Academy in Chennai in St. Thomas Mount, along with 321 other cadets. So two army widows who are part of these 322 cadets here in Chennai. An absolutely inspiring story from here.
And also, Revati, considering the fact that Swati Santosh is not someone who's been given this job by the government because her husband lost his life at the frontier. The fact of the matter is she has cleared an examination, the Sashastra Seema Bal's examination, and now she's gone through a very rigorous training program. So it's a turnaround of huge sorts. And also, what does it mean for her personally, considering the fact that her husband, who she said, whose first love was always his duty for the country, and now she's going to be stepping pretty much into his shoes and to serve the country herself.
Daunted and unmindful of his grave injury, this brave soldier continued to inspire his men.
Well, if I heard you right, you asked me what does this mean for her, because there is the passing out parade noise here. I couldn't catch your question clearly, but yes, this is a very meaningful day for her. Yes, she is stepping into the shoes of her husband, and like she clearly pointed out, that uniform that was hanging on the wall of her house, the thought that there is nobody anymore to wear that uniform, it was an emotional decision for Swati, but it is also taking forward his dream, taking forward the dream of her husband who died fighting terrorists in Kashmir in 2015. She would say that when he was alive, the life that her children received at that point of time, she would want to give the same, even now, even after him passing away. And clearly taking forward his dream is the biggest achievement here, is the biggest goal and target for her at this point. And also, like she pointed out, the duty was his.
The parade commander is now returning to his position and will now lead the marching contingent in front of the reviewing
dedication and determination
towards
what she is doing, because remember, she is 38 years old, and all the other cadets in the camp training with her are less than half her age. So you could imagine the kind of rigorous training that she must have gone through, considering the age group that she is training in, the kind of girls about 15 to 16-year-olds who are in her batch, but she's 38 years old. So the amount of extra effort and rigorous training that she would have put in, so absolutely a lot of determination and motivation that has gone into taking up this decision and fulfilling that dream today.
Absolutely, Revati. We'll have to leave it there. And absolutely an inspirational story of sorts, where Swati Santosh, who was widowed 2 years ago, now she's gone through the rigorous training, who had a teacher's job, and now she's left that, and now she's officially joined the Indian Army. Thank you very much indeed, Revati, for joining us from Chennai.